Good evening. The thoughts that I have around this come from the work that I've been doing with Yousef for a number of years now. When I first came to Health Canada in 2005, and I started work in, I guess it was the first week of October of that year, Yousef actually moved into the RD role at the time and was my first boss at Health Canada. I worked for Yousef for about a year and I had to get out of there. But that being said, Yousef provided leadership in the region while I was doing some work on the First Nations side around negotiating the tripartite health plan and the other health plans and so on and so on. But the work that Yousef did along the way was always extremely important to ensure that the region was ready to be transferred when it was to be transferred. And the work along the way included many conversations with the staff, with Ottawa, with ourselves on the First Nations side, trying to confirm the best way to move the work forward. In the meanwhile, I'm aware that our communities have known Yousef for many, many years. And leading up to even before I started, Yousef had a strong working relationship and history with First Nations communities across the province of British Columbia. And moving forward in support of the work and in support of ensuring that the transfer would be successful, Yousef agreed to come across to be part of the First Nations Health Authority with the regional operations when they were transferred in October 2013. And that was an important piece of work that Yousef did and leadership that he provided to ensure that the regional office came across and that we were able to meet our success measures and seamlessly transfer the operations to the First Nations Health Authority. Yousef had remained in a position with us as VP Health Services until October of last year, where he was able to provide the leadership and the work required to help us understand the work in the region and to get us ready for the work moving forward to transformation. So I thought it was important that Yousef and communities had an opportunity to acknowledge the long working history that Yousef has had with BC First Nations communities, our health leaders and our political leaders as well, as a lot of our discussions are on both sides of the equation. So tonight, I'm very, very, very humbled and honored to be able to have the opportunity to acknowledge Yousef and all his work on behalf of First Nations Inuit Health Branch for BC First Nations people and communities in the province of British Columbia for many, many years. And that he's really helped lay the foundation for the work in which we're looking forward to in the years ahead around health service transformation. So again, thank you to Willie and Leah for making the room for this during this evening, and I really want to, Yousef, thank you for your efforts and your leadership and your kindness, for showing me some of the Health Canada ropes while I was there, but not all your secrets, and for the ability to just be there and listen when we had to talk about things and move things forward. So I want to thank you very much for that, and I really have a gift for you on behalf of the First Nations Health Authority.
Thank you, Quinnaman. Thank you, Yousef, for all your good work and dedication to our people. In a lot of our families, the ones who have shared people like you, Yousef, have been our families, the ones who have made the sacrifice for your long hours of work has been your family. And we have Yousef's family standing behind him, and Yousef wanted, this is how Walmach Yousef is. He wanted his family with him on an evening when he's being honored, because it isn't just Yousef that's being honored, it's Yousef's family as well. They've made that contribution. So, and I'm conscious of, can I just ask the family to come stand beside Yousef? No, you stay there, Yousef. You stay there. Yes, there you go. I can't help it. It's natural to tell people what to do. I don't know what it is. So beside Yousef is his wife. Her name is Yasmin, and she's a family physician, someone who And beside Yasmin is their son, Salman, who is a family physician as well. And then we have Salman's wife, who is Layla, and she's a lawyer. And next is the youngest daughter, Saima, who is in her second year at UBC Medical School. And not able to join the family this evening is another daughter. Her name is Sonia, who is at VII doing a master's in public health. So we'd like to acknowledge all of the work that all of you do for all of the communities in British Columbia, and we thank and raise our hands to you. We'll see you. And now we'll go back to Willie. So I guess we'll bring these to us.
Wanted to thank Yousef's family for being here tonight. I was teasing with them a little bit earlier and telling them that a lot of us in the room don't even know how old Yousef is. He's been around for a long time. But he's reached out and touched many of our communities. Many people in the province and First Nations communities know of Yousef. And so we thought it was a really nice that Yousef could bring his family and introduce his family, because they've had to have given him up for some time to come and to visit our communities and to do that work. We wanted to acknowledge and call on some of the Health Council members, one from each of the regions, to come forward as well to kind of pay their respects on behalf of their regions to the work that Yousef has done for many years. Grand Chief Doug Kelly is going to be the first. And we called on one from each of the regions already, so you know who you are.
I try not to yell in these things. I usually don't use one of these for these kinds of occasions. But when I use my natural voice in these big houses, people think I'm yelling at them. And I know Yousef is used to me yelling at him. I always tell people that when I first met Yousef, he was this tall, big-shouldered like me, and now look at him. And you know why he's like that, right? The weight of taking care of our people is heavy. Being responsible for the provision of much-needed health services weighs heavily on those in senior leadership jobs. The work is demanding, it's stressful, it's lonely. And I have to say, if I were Yousef, I'm a little surprised he left that beautiful family for us. Would you have? What a beautiful family you have, Yousef. And I want to thank your dear mate, your son, daughter-in-law, daughter, and the one that's getting educated at the University of Victoria, for sharing you with us. Our people that are taught to be leaders, we know this, that when you take on a leadership job, your life no longer belongs to you. It belongs to the people. Quinniman, I'm grateful, dear brother, that you felt it in your heart to stand Yousef up, to acknowledge him. More importantly, to acknowledge his family for sacrificing their time with their husband, with their dad. I don't know how the father-in-law thing goes. It looks like it's pretty good. She's got a great big smile. It's not always like that, right? What a beautiful family. And you willingly shared Yousef with us. We needed Yousef. If it's for me, take a message, eh? We needed Yousef. Change is tough. Even when it's good for us, it's tough. And so when we began to talk to Health Canada about taking it over, ole, ooh, work for those Indians for real? Oh no. We needed Yousef to provide leadership, to overcome any fears, overcome any doubts, and show his Health Canada family in FNIB, Pacific region, that this is a good thing. This is a good thing. Yousef committed to Joe and I really early in this work that he would be there for us without hesitation. And I love you for that, Yousef. I always will. And I want to thank you in front of your family and express my appreciation as a long-serving leader in the Stalo. You've worked with our people for a long time, and we love you for that. ACM.
Kuwatsak shani Yousef, we kininish classes takshit ahoset. Waqtat wicket chamata attiaqt. Kweh shahapitik utsanewa chakka ikhwa utsunya kinayakt kwa inut kinishuk yakin kuwasa. Attiaqtna ishuk yakin. It's Vancouver Island. I wanted to express a few words in our language, Yousef, because of this occasion, honoring your contribution to this work that we're involved in, understanding very much what our people have undergone in their history, knowing the needs of our communities, and supporting the best way that you can within a system that you had to work. Understanding how difficult it is to make change, as Grand Chief Doug Kelly has referenced. All of the people on Vancouver Island are very much appreciative of your contribution, very much appreciate your family. All these people understand that sacrifice families have to make when we're involved in creating what we have, incredible opportunity for our people. Let go.
The language I spoke is an isolate language. It's related to no other language in the world, spoken only in the southeast corner of the province. I had the honor to meet Yousef when I represented my people as the Director of Health. And I think I met another isolate because I don't think he's related to any other bureaucrat in the world. I didn't believe that he was actually the senior man at that institution because he was so humble. And most of the bureaucrats I've met puff up and try to make you feel small beside them. He always left his office feeling bigger for more than one reason. And we talk about good things coming in small packages. And I often wondered how they fit so much goodness inside such a small man. And I look to see his wife now, beautiful woman, son, daughter-in-law, daughter, and I'm sure the one that's not here is just as beautiful as the ones that I'm seeing. And now I know why he's the man he is, giving birth to these children. Akukpukam is what connects us to the earth. Akukpukamnam is what comes through us as our future generations. And I see beauty in front of me. And I say thank you for sharing that beauty with us. Hey.
Hello, Yousef and your family. I can remember when I first met Yousef about 25 years ago. I was much younger, and I always, because I'm a recovering band manager and I worked in my community for too long, and I remember when I first met Yousef, I was thinking, who's this slick little dude from the government? Anyways, I'm glad I got to meet him. I always enjoyed our conversations, and we would talk more than just business. We would share in what's good in the world, what's good in the things that we do. And it's good to see that you had a family. You never actually spoke about your family. And I can see why, because he's probably trying to protect them from guys like me. But anyways, we went through a lot of hard times, good times, and it's all turned out. I never thought we'd see the day you'd actually be working for us, and I'm glad that you've stuck it out and you're committed to do that. I've always seen you as a man of respect, and I believe the goodness in you is going to help us move forward. And I'd like to thank your family for the sacrifice you made in allowing Yousef to do the work for us and with us.
Before I begin, I'd first like to thank the Creator for this day and allowing us to honor a man who has helped our people out for many years. But before I begin, along with myself, I'd like to ask all our reps from the North region to stand up and honor Yousef with me. So I'd like to ask each of you to stand up and give him a big round of applause from the North. And the reason that I ask that is because Yousef, for many years, even before I was a twinkle in my father and mother's eye, was helping out our people many years ago. But he really understands the struggles that we are struggling with within the health area. And it was one of the biggest reasons I was so happy that he decided to make the transfer over when we were taking on health in October, because he understands and he has the heart of a First Nations person. He is filled with compassion and he always thinks of others before himself. So without speaking too long, I just wanted to thank you very much, Yousef, for all your hard work on our behalf. And just to finish, when I used to be on the health authority for my nation, the Nisga'a Valley Health Authority, and the first time I was going to meet Yousef, I was kind of feeling intimidated because I was picturing this great big man with so much energy and everything from what I've heard because of his last name, and I thought I was going to be speaking to Muhammad Ali. So when I first seen him, I was really calm after. I said, thank goodness. But that being said, Yousef does carry the heart of a champion like Muhammad Ali, and I thank you for that.
Wanted to thank the representatives from each of the regions for coming forward. We talked to a few of them about 15 minutes ago, and some of them about 5 minutes ago, that they're going to come up and speak on behalf of their regions. Wanted to acknowledge and thank Quinniman, Joe Gallagher, for his idea, or the thought that came to him, and for following through with that. Again, I mentioned in by our elders, where we're from, they say when you have that thought on your mind, then the work has already started. So thanking Joel for following through with the work of the Spirit. Muhammad Ali wanted to speak. Yousef wanted to say a few words. So we're going to turn it to Yousef.
I always have to start and say, I am standing here. So if you can't see me, there's nothing I can do. Thank you, First Nations Health Authority, for this honoring ceremony, for me, and for inviting my family to witness this event. Usually I don't speak from notes. I've learned a lot from First Nations, which is to just keep rambling. Today, nobody rambled. But my kids refused. My kids said, no way. You are going to prepare and you're going to read the notes. So if it doesn't come across, then it's not my fault. I also want to thank my family for joining me here tonight. As you have seen, they are very busy in their lives. And of course, I never had the courage to tell them to come to a lot of ceremonies, a lot of openings of health stations, transfers, because I know they were either studying or they were working. They were doing something good on their side. And today is the first time they are with me. So thank you very much. And appreciate you giving me the time to go and visit communities. And I used to visit a lot. So appreciate all the time that you give me. I want to thank all the First Nations leaders, chiefs, health directors, First Nations Health Authority Board, and other distinguished guests who are present here to be part of this ceremony. I also like to thank other First Nation leaders and communities across the 3 provinces where I've worked, Ontario, Saskatchewan, and then BC, for their trust, their support for me for the last 34 years, which has actually made it possible to have this honoring ceremony. Of what I heard, what I've been through, I'm extremely humbled by what I just heard. I have no words to thank you with what you have said. It has been an honor for me, both professionally and as a human being, to be blessed to work on First Nations health issues for the past 34 years. You should know that I have no background in health. And now I'm saying that to you. But my family has abundance of it. My background is in finance and accounting, and more recently, talking. When I say I'm blessed to work with First Nations, you should know that I learned a lot about your values and your ethics, and how these operate in real life in First Nations families, in First Nations communities, and in First Nations. You respect and your treatment and your respect of your elders, both who are alive and living, but also those who have passed away in the spirit world. And I'm talking about your ancestors. How you recognize their services, how you honor them, and thank them for what skills you have been blessed with, how you share your success with them, and acknowledge that your success is in large part due to their hard work and not just your hard work. That's the type of values and ethics that I learned. Your values and ethics in how you care about your families, your communities, your relations, how you share whatever you have with your near and dear ones. And I have lots of stories of those things. It's not how much you have, it's how much you share. These are the things that I learned from you and tried to incorporate them in my personal and my professional life in dealing with each one of you and also raising my own family. In my 34 years, I've worked in Northern Ontario, in Saskatchewan, and of course here in BC. I always value and trust. I always value the trust that you have put in me, and I sincerely hope that I mostly delivered on that trust. When I was in Northern Ontario and in Saskatchewan, my last name was not Ali. It was Ghulam Ali. However, there were many variations of my name by First Nations, and they never gave me a First Nations name. They called me Ghulam Money. They called me Moneybag. There were all sorts of names. So when I came to BC, I decided to change my name to Ali. And this is no joke. I changed my name. But here, the First Nations started to use the variation of my first name. Yousef became Yousef, useful, and of course, sometimes useless, and Nosaf. Like I said no to everything, so Nosaf instead of Yousef. On a more serious note, I want to acknowledge that I was frequently given some very sound and sincere advice on how I should view my job. The one that I took to heart was from a chief of a very small band in Saskatchewan, who, when I was explaining government policies on non-insured health benefits, we call it health benefits now, said that I should not only view myself as a federal civil servant, but also as a representative for First Nations on their health issues when I'm dealing with my bosses in Ottawa. I never forgot that advice. Always kept that in my mind in dealing with my Ottawa bosses, and I'm very proud of it, that that advice was given to me. With your support, your trust, your belief in the cause, and your commitment to improving health for First Nations in your communities and in BC, we have achieved a lot. I have yet to meet any chief in council who, in spite of all the many things on your plate, from social assistance to education, from economic development to governance issues, you always have health as one of your top priorities for your community. You always made time available for us to meet, to discuss, to negotiate, and to celebrate the outcomes of our negotiations. My proudest achievements are all the health transfer agreements in the communities, all the health centers we built in the communities, and of course, the biggest First Nations health transfer in Canada's history, which is the creation of FNHA. Although everyone has their own story about this transfer, and everyone has a right to their own story, including people in the Prime Minister's office. And I must tell you that I had people in the Prime Minister's office who told me how hard they worked to convince the Prime Minister. So they all have stories about how they were part of it. I can tell you that I enjoyed every moment of that journey. I'd like to salute all the people who had a part to play in this historic event, and there were many. My hats off to all of you for making this happen. Not too many are blessed to carry such memories of their work as they come to the twilight of their career. I was there from the start, not the start of the world, just the transfer. Some people wonder how old I am. And I remember the very first meeting where there are two more people that were in that meeting, which I believe they are here now. Harmony was in that first meeting, and Arlene Patton was in that first meeting. And if they are, hats off to you to be part of this process and to continue to be part of that process. As I've said before, I've enjoyed every moment of my work in First Nations Health for the past 34 years. Some people work in misery every day for years and years, only so that they can look forward to their pension or their executive bonus. I was never one of those. Someone asked me recently if I have any regrets. Here was my answer. If I have to relive my work life, if I'm reincarnated, I will gladly and willingly do the same work all over again. Although I'm not sure if the First Nations will allow me the opportunity again. Once again, I am grateful to all of you for honoring me, but more importantly, for giving me the respect all through my work, trusting my judgments and my commitments, and making me feel as one of you in many of my dealings with you. Before I leave this podium, see, I've learned how to talk. I have a couple of announcements to make based on what I have learned from you about giving of what I have and not keeping everything for myself. As you heard this morning from the CEO, Joe Gallagher, First Nations Health Authority is looking to create some sort of an entity, I call it a foundation, in order to tap into the donations, and that part of the work has to be done. My family would like to be among the first donors to that foundation when it is created. We like to donate $10,000 thank you. And I'm wondering who I give this check to. It's good at my age, my eyesight is very weak. I can't see any hands up. Is the chair of the board around? Is Lydia? Please, Lydia. I said I've got a couple of announcements. So the second announcement is that in addition to the first donation, we would also like to donate an annual amount of $1,000 for life, and that's my life. $1,000 annually towards a scholarship for a master's in early childhood development. That thing is very close to my heart. We request that the foundation, when created, create this scholarship in our family's name. That's the only request. And I should give you the check.
Which name?
I'll tell you that. That's the first year.
That's the first year.
Not my life here, because I don't know how long my life is.
I'm counting on many more.
The reason I said that was that now I know that all of you can keep praying that I live a long life. Madam Chair, these checks have no dates. And there was a reason for it. Because I don't want them to get stale. And you couldn't deposit it right now because they are in the foundation's name. So I want you to think hard as a board for the creation of whatever instrument and vehicle you can so that we can start to deposit those checks. So thank you for allowing me to be able to do that as a family. And thank you very much.
See, I'm going to say, I just really wanted, I've been allowed a minute from the chair, but I really want to use that minute to just acknowledge Yousef first for your contributions and the work that you've done to support a really, really important body of work for our people in this province and other provinces, as you've said. And then I also want to acknowledge your very talented, wonderful family that you have standing here with you, and your daughter that I can pass our love on to her as well. But with just taking my moment, I just want to acknowledge your generosity and the contribution you've made and having it in your heart to continue to support First Nations people. Well, I'm going to say it, till the day you die. So thank you very much on behalf of the First Nations Health Authority, on behalf of all the future beneficiaries of the foundation and the good scholarship work that'll be done. Thank you. I lift my hands up. Thank you.